What is up everybody, my name is Tonny and I'm here with another Warframe guide video, and in this video we'll be looking at the Garuda Prime. Before we get into the build, I just want to say that it is recommended to get Magus Elevate on this Warframe or equip it, because every time you are draining your health for energy, you can definitely get health back. So I have 3 builds for you guys, and these 3 builds can be used as templates and not really builds themselves, but they do decently well in Steel Path, and usually these type of builds are usually made for Elite Sentry Onslaught, Fissures, etc., all your everyday type of missions, and not really made for Steel Path, even though it is decent in those type of missions. But let's take a look at this first build here, and this first build is the power build, so I do have high ability strength, so it's pretty much self-explanatory on what this does. For the arcanes, I have Arcane Guardian and Fury, and the reason why I have Fury is because I am a melee main here, so I don't really use my guns that much. You guys can swap out Arcane Fury with the Arcane Strike and Arcane Guardian for Grace if you want to. It's definitely up to you. This next build is a little bit different than the first build because I am using Dread Ward here. So if the enemy has at least 40% HP left, use the Dread Mirror, and then you get invincibility or somewhat invincibility for at least 14 seconds. You still take damage and such in terms of HP, but you will not die. So if you guys spam Dread Mirror, well, you guys can get the idea here. So I do have adaptation with Rolling Guard and with the Augur Message, and the Uproar Fiber here can be replaced with Vitality if you want. I also have Grace and Guardian here, no Arcane Strike or Fury. You can replace one of these for those arcanes, but it's not really necessary if you're going to be using guns. For the third build, I do have a little bit different than the second build, obviously, but similar to my first build, except I do have armor and strength here. Amar's Hatred. If you can squeeze in one extra Forma, definitely replace this for something different, but usually this build itself should be decent enough for you to survive, and as well as do some damage. And I do have Arcane Fury and Guardian, same as the first build. Let's go over the talents really quick. I have the Malicious Raptor. When it comes to the melee stance, it's definitely up to you what you guys want to use. I could use Vermilion Storm if I want to, or 4 Riders. But you know what? Vermilion Storm is also pretty good, so it's definitely up to you on a personal preference here. When it comes to the mods, I do have all these mods, pretty much everyday common mods here. Sacrificial Steel for the critical chance. Weeping Wounds for the status chance. Since I am a melee main here, might as well using Weeping Wounds. Alright, so you guys have seen the 3 builds you guys can use without the helminth system. But now we got 3 builds here that you can definitely use with other Warframe abilities. Now the very first one is absolutely my favorite in terms of God mode-ish, because with this build I have Condemned on here. And this allows you to get shields every time you hit an enemy with Condemned, and they are actually like stuck or in stasis and stuff or something like that. So if they're stuck in stasis, you can freely kill them, and you're pretty much not going to get hit that much unless you are in a open world and open area. But otherwise, this will pretty much make you a little bit more God mode. So the mods here I have would be Natural Talent for increased casting speed, allowing you to cast Condemned non-stop. For the aura mods, if you do not use melee, switch this out for growing power, or if you want to be a more team player, Combat Discipline is also pretty nice. If you want more range, Cunning Drift replacing Power Drift is also a good option. Otherwise, Power Drift is pretty good enough to get more shields. For the arcanes, it's definitely up to you on how you guys are playing. Melee wise, Arcane Fury and Strike is pretty good. Otherwise, Guardian and Grace is also a great alternatives. The next build I have is pretty much common for every Garuda players, and that is the Gloom build here, the true vampire build. So this allows you to get healing while you are mobile. So this is actually an upgrade over the Blood Altar in my opinion, because of the slow effect it has. For the mods here, Steel Charge, again, if you are using guns or AoE weapons, which I highly recommend using. AoE weapons will make this build shine a lot more, but if you guys want to use melee, Steel Charge would be nice here. If you want more range for the Gloom, Cunning Drift, otherwise more Lifesteal, Power Drift. Energy Conversion is actually a weird mod here, but the reason why I have this over Transient Fortitude is because I actually want to have that lower cost and energy per enemy. Because if I use Transient Fortitude, I mean the difference is not that big, but if I have the Transient Fortitude, the cost increases, and when it comes to that, I'm just not down for that at all. But with the Energy Conversion, the idea here is that you don't get that extra 5% here, but you do need to just pick up 1 energy orb, cast Gloom just once and you're done. That is it. Energy conversion does its job. No downside to the Transient Fortitude's ability duration. For the Arcanes, definitely up to you guys. Again, melee, Arcane Strike and Fury. Otherwise, Guardian and Grace is also pretty nice here. This next build I have is actually pretty strange in terms of how useful this is. It can be a fun build. I would not say this is ideally great for Steel Path because it does get a little bit challenging. But I would say if you are up for nuking or doing a little bit of casting only without shooting or meleeing, Steel Path actually is pretty, I would say, decent or below average on the performance wise of Steel Path enemies, but it can still get the job done if you are cornered like I am here. So the build I have here will be the Breach Surge, and this allows you to stun enemies at 11 seconds obviously, but when it comes to the damage, the bleed on the Seeking Talons will do the most damage on that, allowing you to do a crap load of damage with that damage multiplier. And the idea here on this build is I have natural talent for the casting speed. The reason why I have Steel Charge is just because of if they get too close, I would definitely just melee them. Otherwise, I'll be spamming my Bleeding Talons with Breach Surge and with Bloodletting. The Hunter Adrenaline is just for the extra safety if I get hit, but I highly recommend replacing this with Quick Thinking if you are planning to commit to this type of build. But since I just use this build for fun, I am not going to Forma one more time just to get that Quick Thinking. Hunter Adrenaline was good enough for me. So the idea here is that you definitely want to cast your Bloodletting twice so that you get almost full energy. After that, you want to cast your Breach Surge and then cast your Seeking Talons. Now, when you're casting Seeking Talons, you will notice that you are pretty much invulnerable for whatever duration you are in the Seeking Talons casting thing. So keep in mind about that. That could be a very useful phase for you. If you are in trouble, you can just use Seeking Talons to run away for a quick second. And that is it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to support my channel. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, you guys, peace out.